No, I was looking through the 5.0 deck list dumps. I couldn't find anything super spicy to record with today. And I thought to myself, why not just be the bad guy? Why not just play Dredge? Hello, folks. Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU, here for another Legacy video. And Bennett gave me a dealer's choice donation deck list. I was trying to find something spicy, and I was honestly having a little bit of trouble. Legacy is healthy adjacent right now. I think Cameo is a bit of a problem. I don't love Oops All Spells existing at all. But outside of those things, there's a lot of relatively fair, cool gameplay going on in Legacy now. Centric around a couple of things, yeah, absolutely. But when the Delver style decks tend to be good, Legacy tends to be pretty fun to play. And I thought, why not? Why not bust out the combo cards for a day? Let's play some Dredge. Now, this is a classic strategy. Get a creature with Dredge into your graveyard, and then stop drawing cards for the remainder of the game. Use each one of your draw steps to Dredge, and if you happen to have some other cards in hand, your Faithless Looting and Breakthrough style cards can go really crazy once you have the Dredgers in the graveyard. This is an archetype that doesn't tend to change a lot. There's some question of, hey, is this a time where we play Lion's Eye Diamond? Is this a time where we play Manaless? There's some nuance to the deck building, but it's really hard for cards to be good enough to get slotted into this archetype. Poxwalkers is a recent-ish exception from the Warhammer 40k set, which works really, really well with the Cabal Therapy style cards in this deck. And Bridge from Below plus Poxwalkers plus Cabal Therapy is a recipe for a good time for you, anyway. If you haven't seen the slower builds of this deck in action, Otherworldly Gaze can do a pretty good job of being your redundant copies of Faithless Looting to get your initial Dredgers into the graveyard. The deck basically has one job in sideboarding, and it's not lose to your opponent's hate piece. So the majority of what you are going to see here is going to be various bounce effects or destruction effects or artifact-based hate. I don't think Dredge is a super difficult deck to play in game one. I think the sideboard games are very tough and require a ton of specialized knowledge. For most Legacy players, it is good enough to know, okay, their graveyard has 2 to 3 pieces of graveyard hate. For the Dredge player, it's necessary to know, okay, on this specific weekend, are they more likely to be on Surgical or Grafdigger's Cage? Because that vastly changes your sideboarding choices. Other than that, we have a few anti-combo measures of our own here. Although note that Unmask can also be used to target yourself in a pinch and get your first Dredger into the graveyard. Please do not take my sideboarding as gospel throughout this league. This is not a deck that I play very often, and you should turn to the specialist if you want more information on Dredge. With that, I'm going to go ahead and hop into a league here. Dredge is a relatively inexpensive Legacy deck, and if you already own Lion's Eye Diamond, most of the rest of the deck is commons and uncommons. So if you want to buy your own Dredge deck, please consider getting it from toamagic.com. When you do, use my promo code ThrabenU to save yourself a little bit on your order. Alrighty, let's battle. Hello, Phil from the future here. If you're on a limited time budget, I recommend round 4. If you want to see that like Dredge carefully finessing things versus blue decks, that's the best round to do that. Enjoy the show. So I am on the draw. If I keep this hand, what I'm going to do is draw a card, discard Golgari Grave Troll, and intend on keep discarding for the rest of the game. I think in game 1, I would rather be more explosive than that. I would like one of Gaze, Looting, Breakthrough in my opening hand, if at all possible. And if I just discard Golgari Grave Troll to hand size and then miss, I'm not very good at Cephalid Coliseum because I have to re-discard the Golgari Grave Troll to hand size. And then there's also just the disaster case of what if my opponent thought seizes me. I think I'll just mulligan this one. That has no mana. That's not going to do it for me. How many lands are in this deck? All right. Noted. We are going to 4. Underground Sea, Cephalid Coliseum, Faithless Looting. Perfection. All right, on 4, are we Cabal Therapy, target ourselves, put Golgari Thug in graveyard, pray, have Cephalid Coliseum? I think we are. This is so bad. This is not the LED faithless looting go bananas situation that we want it to be. God damn it. This is Bojuka Bog immediately. Ah! Oh, that's so frustrating. That's magic, baby. All right. All right. Actual factual horizon canopy comes down. Here's the tip off that we are dredge. None of those cards are dredgers. Rough. You go to graveyard. You go to graveyard. I think I'm going to take you to hand on the understanding that my graveyard is going to get nuked. So having ways to get things back into graveyard, excuse me, is a good idea. Go ahead and just make my land drop pass the turn. Flashback. Otherworldly gaze. Probably at my opponent's end step. Uh-oh. Hell, don't get to do the coolest things with this. We'll go ahead and gaze. Well, all those can go to graveyard, but none of those are dredgers. I do not feel like I am running hot, as the children say. Fuck. Ice cold. Ice cold. Roll to 4. No dredgers. No lands. Only pain. Mox Diamond. Got full-on Thespian stage action in deck. Badger Mole Cub. Oh, I haven't seen that on flagstones yet. That's super fucking cute. Now my opponent just has 4 holding 1 land up. Bojuka Bog available. I think we're done here. Oh, come on! My bridge too? This is actually funny. I'm enjoying this in the very sad sort of way. I am going to absolutely eat it to dark depths. Not like this flagstone gets to come back from the Badgermole Cub ability. Okay, they drew the bog. There is hope. You know, I don't think there's hope anymore. This is just gonna be get dark depths, old Bojuka Bog available. My opponent's got it at this point. I will concede. Ugh. Do not want to play this matchup. So I am expecting Bojuka Bog and Endurance from my opponent. I could do things like this to try to make a window. I might just try to unmask my opponent and take their things and give them access to Bojuka Bog. It feels like I could go down a couple of things that need to sit in the graveyard for a little while. Feels like a lot of times I'm going to be playing patiently where breakthrough isn't the best. I think I'm going to try an unmask-based strategy here. See how it works out. No Dredger, multiple lands. Believe. Fetch. With double basic... Sorry, with double Faithless Looting here, I think I'm just going to not get Wastelanded immediately. Alright, so there's Dredger and... or Poxwalkers into the graveyard. Alright, it's not natural Bojuka Bog from hand. It is immediate Reclaimer, though. I'd like to hit Dredger here. Dredge. Narcomoeba. Yes. There's currently no Dredger in graveyard. I think I am going to go ahead and loot. Try to find something to do with my next turn. All Therapy. All Therapy is pretty sweet. Let's discard a Ridge. Get to Ox. 1, 4, 5, 6, 7 pretty easily without losing a Poxwalkers. I can put the Narcomoeba in there. Yeah. Oh, but if I red like this, Therapy isn't in graveyard. I'll say that's fine. Bam. Bam. Fetch. Red source. Ox. Red. Sacrifice for red. Petal. 2. Land. Land. Petal. 2. Looting. We're both Poxwalkers. Ox has me discard this Cabal Therapy. Dredge an Imp. And I draw 2. Get that Narcomoeba back. I will Cabal Therapy. Target you. Sacrifice a Poxwalkers. Back. Makes a zombie. I don't think my opponent has an Endurance. They had plenty of opportunities to cast that. The Badger Mole Cub. Card's annoying. Alright, Crop Rotation was one of the other things I was thinking about naming. Alright. Ball Therapy. Target you. Tabernacle is really good here. The time where not having the anger matters a lot. I will take that crop rotation. I think that's where I'm chilling. I think that tabernacle bullies me here. So annoying to click through. So what's going to end up happening here is I will pay for a Poxwalkers and the Ox. They're my best attackers. Then I will get a couple of zombies from my other creatures dying. Attempt to punchies in for 8. Opponent takes that. I'll just pass the turn here. I can take more game actions. The opponent is getting rid of the tabernacle. Alright, they're just going to try to win. While that's gone... No, it's 2 mana to Otherworldly Gaze from Graveyard. Okay, that is Dark Depths. I can block that, kind of. Might get a little weird here. So I would ultimately like to Dread Return a Stinkweed Imp. So what I'm hoping happens is I do something that's threatening enough to make my opponent Bojuka Bog me, and then I crash in for close to lethal, or alternatively I put Stinkweed Imp into play so that I can block for a turn. Alright, I'll start here. So, looting. Discard. Breakthrough now. Cephalid Coliseum now? No, I could Cephalid Coliseum in response. Breakthrough now. Dredge Troll. Dredge, you guessed it. Troll. I'm fine dredging 1 imp. We'll discard all of my cool friends. Trigger. Yes. Red return. Target a Stinkweed Imp. Want to leave this. Can I get another Poxwalkers in play first? Or Cabal Therapy? Alright, Cabal Therapy. Target you. Sacrifice a Poxwalkers. Return 3 Poxwalkers to play. Giving me a couple zombies as well. No. There's an Elvish Reclaimer over there. Alright. Now, I Dread Return. I can Cabal Therapy one time. Make a few more zombies to make it easier to swing for lethal next turn. Name Sticker Goblin, of course. Good name. Now, Dread Return. Target a Stinkweed Imp. Sacrificing 3 Poxwalkers. Oh, we have some weird stack action going on there. Then I have another Dread Return. Get a second Stinkweed Imp in there. Sacrifice the same 3 Poxwalkers. Wow, Magic Online does not like this. At this point, I think I'll go ahead and go to combat. Send on in for some amount of damage. Now I have 2 different color creatures held back for Merit Lage. 4 damage immediately. Get some zombies. Pass turn. And this is gone. So I guess there's that one land that copies a land that's in your graveyard. Opponent rotates. Ah, yes. Is exactly what I was afraid of. And here is like where I win the game if I have anger in my deck still. I think that beats me. Yeah, I think without the anger, that beats me, and I easily beat it with the anger. And that's the sort of thing I would know if I had played this matchup before. All right. You win this round, Tabernacle. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. If you're looking to store your decks online, you're not going to find a better website. It's super organized and easy to use, and I sort everything that I do into a ton of format-specific folders, and you can customize the way that you use Moxfield to your liking. Whether you like text views or visual views of multiple different natures, Moxfield has it all. And it's so easy to use, you might even say that it's a snap. Alright, my opening hand is okay. My opponent has mulligan to 5. Then just pass the turn. Alright. I think Cabal Therapy target myself. In Golgari Grave Troll. Put both into the graveyard. And pass Tropical Island from my opponent. Black mana. Cameo resolves. I will take this opportunity to cast this spell before my opponent gets more looks at counter spells. Not going to cast too many spells for the remainder of this game. Go to graveyard. Go to graveyard. That'll be 6 in graveyard. Otherworldly Gaze is the 7th card in graveyard. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Otherworldly Gaze 5. 2 cards I surveilled, 6/7, not Scalding Tarn. So I think it is better to draw Cephalid Coliseum rather than Dredge. Cameo transforms and pluses. I will actually draw Cephalid Coliseum, target myself, and now we get to Dredge Grave Troll 3 times, which hopefully quite silly. Discard 1, 2, 3. Archamoeba triggers. Yes. Yes. Wait, is this no bridge, no Poxwalkers? That is no bridge, no Poxwalkers, no Mountain for Anger yet. I think I'm gonna chill there. Cameo to 6. Bowmasters is fine. Lose 1 Narcomoeba. I will edge. Okay, there's a bridge from below. Not a red land, so I don't have Ox here. I think before I do anything else, I'm going to get my mountain. Oh no. Okay. Okay. Wow. All right. Cabal Therapy. Guess I will sacrifice a Narcomoeba. I think I just don't want to get stopped next turn. All right. Hit Force of Will. I can take that Ponder. Then my opponent can't minus for the Force of Will. I am okay with that. That leaves 1 Cabal Therapy for Crimes next turn as well. Now I don't get haste. This did not go well. I don't know. Maybe I can beat a Tameo ultimate. That doesn't feel crazy to do. Take 2 here. 17. Absolutely. Opponent's last card is land drop. I will dredge this. I missed. Fully missed. Does not fetch anything for Otherworldly Gaze. 16. So now I think it comes down to, has my opponent played this matchup enough? I think if they read this right and they know that they can like Bowmaster their Bowmasters to remove my Bridge from Belows once something goes on the stack, I don't think I win. I was really counting on having a small zombie army in play that they would have to play through, and a large-ish Golgari Grave Troll with the ability to regenerate it is probably annoying here. Alright, there's Fatal Push. I don't think my opponent needs to do that with that timing. I think they can wait until I dredge and eventually take out more Bridge from Belows. Take 1 from this attack, unless it's Kaito. Okay, it is Kaito. Down to 14. Oh, it's just the emblem. Sure. Dredge. Roll. Alright, there we go. Okay, there's Poxwalkers now. Now I'm in business. And I hit a bridge, so I'm glad that my opponent did their fatal push timing wrong. Alright. Triggers. Game 1 Endurance. Alright, opponent Force of Will. Go get my Poxwalkers. I have 1 Dread Return in graveyard right now. Target the Ox. This spell probably doesn't resolve. Target the Ox. Do this. Triggers. Okay, yeah, so there's the other Force of Will. That will now be 3 of the 4. Stack clears. I have a decent amount of power in play. I'll be ending my turn there. Wasteland is fine. Unless it's enabling days, in case I care a decent amount about it. Cameo pluses. The zombies only effectively have 1 power. Kaito emblems again. And swings in. So in theory, if I connect, I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage. I think I'm just going to let Kaito connect down to 9. That's an 8/8 Murktide Regent. That doesn't solo me next turn. It kills me if there's another one. Dredge Troll. There's a Dread Return and a Cabal Therapy. Cabal Therapy, target you, sacrifice a Poxwalkers. Point where you can Orcish Bowmasters, ping your Orcish Bowmasters, and clear my Bridge from Below. Okay, no, the Bridge from Below things are happening. That's presumably no Orcish Bowmasters. Am I still just naming Force of Will so that Dread Return doesn't get stopped? Dread Return's kind of a big deal. It's still not. Oh no. Okay, there are dazes as well. Waken the Honored Dead. Everything. No. Okay. So I need another Cabal Therapy that I don't have. And a Dread Return. Target a fire. 1, 2, and 3. Triggers. Make friends. Alright, opponent is going to daze that. All my friends come back to party. Now, let's look at the 23 revealed cards in my opponent's hand. Okay, so there were Bowmasters in there, and they just didn't play them. Okay, so I'm going to take that as they don't know that trick. My opponent can block and save the Tamiyo. Oh fuck, I'm just dead to Bowmaster, Ping, Face, Murktide, Regent, attack. Let's hope my opponent misses that too. Send it face. Tamiyo triggers. Triggers a Bowmaster, pinging a token. Okay. Missed that lethal line. Now I need them to miss the next lethal line where they cast a Murktide Regent to grow their Murktide Regent. Alright, there's a mighty 1 damage. Clear potential blockers for next turn. I lose my bridges. Cannot stress enough how big of a deal the anger is. Happening to dredge over Valk Mountain. First 10 cards or whatever was brutal. Alright, they did find a lethal line. That'll do. GG. I'm expecting opponent's Graveyard Hate to be spell-based. I could hedge and play a copy or two of Shenanigans, or something like Grafdigger's Cage. I think I will do that. Maybe go down a couple of cards that are rough if my opponent has a Bowmasters in play. I just lose if Cabal Therapy on myself is countered here. I think I'm not into this. This one I like a lot better. Let's put a Narcomoeba back into the deck. A Volk. Do I get a mountain? I get a mountain. And that's there forever for anger purposes. Faithless Looting. Force of Negation. You've got it. Alright, there's a Surveil land. Saying no to Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize is kind of a weird card in this matchup. Woohoo! Alright. Land drop, so this is done around days. Faithless Looting. Force of Will is fine. Here's Lion's Eye Diamond. Now we need to hold priority. I'm going to cast a Breakthrough for X equals 0. While that is on the stack, go ahead and sacrifice this for red. And we begin. Thinkweed Imp. Oh wow, only Dredger that I hit there immediately anyway. That's fine. We're going deeper. Narcomoeba to play. Flashback Faithless Looting. Troll. Or other troll. Guard. Rolls. Cabal Therapy. Target you. Sacrifice a Narcomoeba. Begins the whole Poxwalkers thing. Putting a couple zombies in play. Get rid of something that can take out my bridges. Double Fatal Push Murktide Regent as remaining cards. Let's red. Yeah, okay. So I was going to Dread Return, target the Ox, dredge 3 more times, and just go bananas. My opponent lost that one effectively on turn 2 while having 2 pieces of counter magic. That worked out very, very well for me. GG. I want a couple copies of Unmask as a take a peek, take counter magic, go. I don't hate it. Breakthrough was insane there. A little worse when my opponent can get Orcish Bowmasters down before it. Just gonna be okay with this. I err on the side of light touch as to not disrupt my engine. Hand's okay. It has 2 different ways to get things into graveyard in the first place. Might just be what I need. And I also can maybe think about just discarding Golgari Grave Troll to hand size. Passes the turn. I think I'm just going to discard Troll to hand size. Didn't get Thought Seized. And we can try to begin the fight over this initial Grave Troll. If my opponent has a Surgical Extraction or a Spell Bomb or whatever, they can do that. Otherwise, I start dredging before they can use their counter spells effectively. Second land drop comes down. Opponent passes the turn. Alright. Dredge. Ball Therapy in yard. Bridge in yard. Still a troll in yard. Opponent has a Surge. Yeah, that's pretty good. Now, the plan against that is get Poxwalkers in play by sacrificing Narcomoeba. I need to cast Cabal Therapy from Graveyard if times to return Poxwalker. Alright, that's the plan. Given that, I need to get this other Cabal Therapy into Graveyard. My last black source. Cabal Therapy, target you. This is Force of Will. Okay, hit. That's my turn. My opponent's Force of Negation will be hard castable. Although they might just wasteland me here, so I can't cast Otherworldly Gaze. That is what happens. Now we dredge the troll, find a Narcomoeba, not find a Poxwalkers. I can let my opponent Fatal Push this, or I can let them Force of Negation. Sorry, I can Cabal Therapy, take Force of Negation, or I can let them Fatal Push this. They had the opportunity to Fatal Push in my draw step and didn't. Maybe they don't recognize what my plan is. I can try to get more Narcomoeba-based value. I'm going to do that. I only have 2 more Narcomoebas in my deck. Be a little careful with how I use the Cabal Therapies. Alright. I guess there was also a line of Cabal Therapy myself there that I could have taken. Cabal Therapy myself for double troll. Me dredging faster. Alright, opponent fetches and plays a Murktide, leaving a Surgical suspiciously in graveyard. Go over the Thug. Dredge. Go hit this turn. Thug. Alright, Grave Troll. Another land drop. Take 5. I am at 14 on Poxwalker. None of those cards are Poxwalkers. F. I have 1 more Narcomoeba remaining. I have to keep this in play. Get 6 more looks at things next turn. Not blocking. Down to 9. There's Tamiyo. Brainstorm could result in this coming back. Dredge 6 more. Alright, there's the last Narcomoeba. I have finally hit a Poxwalkers. I need to return 2 Poxwalkers to play so that I can dread return. Okay, I'm gonna start. I don't start there. Maybe this is still just more valuable next turn. I don't want to give up a creature. I guess my opponent would need 2 removal spells to take out everything. Both come in. Block a Tamiyo, I guess, for Kaito-based reasons. Double block is better. Toxic Deluge exists. Blue token. Alright, there's Fatal Push on 1. They'll have the other. Dredge did hit another Poxwalkers. Now I've lost a body. If I do this, I get 2 Poxwalkers. I don't think this goes anywhere. Name the Force of Negation that I know about. There's 2 of them. Now, because my opponent Fatal Push that last thing, I don't have the ability to, like, Dread Return Ox, get the Poxwalkers back, Dread Return something else following that. I think my struggle was in vain. GG's. We threaded the needle between double counterspell in game 2 very easily, and then got wrecked by a surgical extraction in game 3. Hey, Livy. On to the next one. Alright, opening hand can maybe get a thing into graveyard. I'll just try for better. Well, that's a YOLO hand. That puts 2 Dredgers, a Poxwalkers, a Cabal Therapy into graveyard as long as this resolves. I guess 1 card goes back. Alright. Throw the Thug back in the deck. 2 Dredgers should be hopefully enough to find another. Alright. Game's out of my control. YOLO, are you a Force of Will deck? Fuck. Alright. Hand's pretty bad now. Need a black source to Cabal Therapy myself, put double Stinkweed Imp in the graveyard. Deck did not deliver. I do hit a land drop. Undraw. Cameo. Yep. That'll take over the game relatively quickly if my draws are not cooperative. Alright. So we are... Alright. Got it. So there was a Boomerang Basics pitched to that Force of Will, so this all adds up. That's not bad. I think I'm not going to give my opponent another draw. I'll just do this now. Narcomoeba to graveyard. Troll to graveyard. And I guess if I'm going to start dredging Troll, I get rid of the land as well. Narcomoeba to play. Alright. We are operational now. By Narcomoeba, I'm taking a little bit of otter damage. Fine. Dredge Troll. A Cabal Therapy there. Gaze is 2 mana, can't cast that. So that's my turn. Ooh, there's Felia as well. Felia blinking the Storm Chaser's talent is pretty cute. Or Riddler as well. Okay. So that might still be the optimal way to do that so that they can blink the Riddler with the Felia attack. This is a very good turn for my opponent. And a Wasteland. An exceptional turn for my opponent. Probably pretty close to perfect. This gives them access to a Force or a Swords next turn off of Tameo. I have a busted turn. Archamoeba to play. Is there a bridge? Is a bridge. No Dread Return anywhere? I can make a lot of friends. Cabal Therapy, myself, sacrificing a Narcomoeba, returning 2 Poxwalkers to play. Make a friend. I will name Cabal Therapy. Feel my hand, I sacrifice a Cabal Therapy. I will Cabal Therapy, target myself again, sacrifice a Poxwalkers, bring back Poxwalkers immediately. And now, since my graveyard is pretty empty, I think I'm going to get 2 trolls out of my hand and hopefully set up for next turn to be real cool. I do not believe that I am favored here. Opponent can cantrip a couple times. Probably not hit me for lethal. Might be able to hit me hard enough that Riddler kills me in the air next turn. Alright, I lose a token. I think I'm just gonna take all of that. If I take all of it, I have to get a Stinkweed Imp into play to block Riddler next turn, and probably 2. Valia blinks 1. I think I'm just going to take all of it and hope that I find some way out of this. A good dredge. Having no lands in play at this point, so Anger isn't online, is kind of a big deal. That is miss. I don't have any castable spells here. I think that is the end. GG. I am not bullying these blue decks like I want to. I don't know what I am expecting my opponent's graveyard hate to be here. Wonder if I need something like this to just slow them down. I think I'm going to play a couple of shenanigans in case my opponent has Grafdigger's Cage. I feel like this Anger keeps doing me dirty. Or I just don't have the Mountain, and so the card has no text. But it also feels like it matters a lot versus cameo nonsense. I'll shave one of you and one of you. No. Another YOLO hand where if I get counterspelled, I am close to dead immediately. I think I'm going to hope that this does something broken over the course of this game. Pitch the Anger. Play Petal. Play Coliseum. Attempt Breakthrough. Oh, it just resolved. Well, I have a stacked graveyard and the ability to activate Cephalid Coliseum. Alright, here we go. I will dredge a troll, put a Narcomoeba into play. Opponent fetches. Swords that before I have priority to do anything with it. That's fine by me. Now I would like to commit some crimes. There's Troll. There's Imp. There's Troll. Discard 3 Trolls. I did not hit another Narcomoeba there, unfortunately, so I can't get the chain going. Land drop. Dead to that? I'm dead to that. Like, I could attempt to cast things that look like this and win the game from there. But I think that is just going to beat me. They don't have things boarded in to stop that. Alrighty, on to the next one. GG's. Where's my Faithless Looting LED win the game on the first turn hands? It's not quite it. Yeah, I don't think I can get 7 cards in graveyard easy enough for that to happen. So, my Otherworldly Gaze attempt to get something in the graveyard, and if it doesn't work, I have no playables. Maybe on 5, we just kind of accept that. I think I'll keep this for Poxwalkers. That in the deck to mill over it. Hope my next card gives me something reasonable to do. Got a Bobble, Delver. With that play pattern, you're probably a Delver deck. Assume that this is at tempo. So I see something that suggests otherwise. And we do have the actual factual Delver. Another Bobble. Opponent takes their redraw. Okay. Land drop. Lotus Petal. Fetch. There's a real choice to be had here of Basic Island versus Red Source for Ox. I think I'm going Red Source for Ox. I don't know, maybe I just don't want to get Wastelanded so I can flash that back if it gets countered. But I think a lot of times I end up breakthroughing. Oh, those are not great. I think I might be willing to draw the Cephalid Coliseum. I don't think I'm going for LED for this. I don't know, maybe I am. Maybe I don't do Cephalid Coliseum. Draw the LED next turn, cast LED. That has to be countered, or I do this stuff and I can break through anyway. Okay. Bye, Cephalid Coliseum. Not gonna break through into days here. An opponent can use their bobble. Better flip Delver. Right, opponent has found an instant sorcery. Force of Negation. Well, that's a way to counter my LED. DRC comes down. I will take 3. I'm at 16. I will draw my LED. I know that my opponent has Force of Negation and presumably a blue card to pitch with. I cast Breakthrough. That is the 5th card in my graveyard. LED and Lion's Eye Diamond mean that there's enough to bring Ox back, kind of at the cost of everything. 4, 5, 6, 7. No, I can leave the Troll. I think I'm trying to resolve the LED. I think I cast Breakthrough. Alright, opponent lets it resolve. Everything goes. And hopefully I do broken graveyard things. My opponent did not force what I wanted them to do. But I've got this live, so hopefully it's fine. Opponent fetches and surveils. I can still use this 2 mana to cast Otherworldly Gaze, or play around Daze. Me taking 4 here is great for me. 12. I have to keep in mind that this clock can be shortened a lot by Lightning Bolt. Double Lightning Bolt can potentially kill me next turn. Dredge. Nothing to get me started. That probably means it's time to give up the Lotus Petal, cast this, try to find a Narcomoeba. This also gets me a Poxwalkers. Not a lot to do with said Poxwalkers, but it gets it. Alright, there's a Daze. Poxwalkers to play, passing turn. Still only taking 4 next turn. Veilland comes down. On holding back DRC. I can't attack with Poxwalkers, that's totally reasonable. Dredge Troll. Alright, Cabal Therapy. Target you. Sacrifice Poxwalkers. Will return my Poxwalkers. Opponent uses Force of Will on that, meaning that they get to keep their Force of Negation. That's pretty annoying. Let's get this Force of Negation out of hand. Red return, target an Ox, sacrifice 1, 2, 3. So Poxwalkers comes back, and I have 2 bridges. There's Force of Negation, pitching another Force of Will. Still 3 card types in graveyard, meaning that I'm not quite dead to Lightning Bolt yet. So Force of Negation resolves. I think I now Dread return the Ox. I only have 2 Dread returns, so that's the last one. I don't get another thing out of graveyard. But hopefully I just make a bunch of zombies and kill my opponent. They sure won't have haste. Alright, Ox. I get to discard these trolls, and then Dredge a Gajillion. Hopefully produces a Narcomoeba as a blocker for one of these. Does. And I can just do Cabal Therapy nonsense. Alright, Cabal Therapy, target you. Stack a Poxwalkers. 6 triggers onto the stack. I think I'm just going to miss the first time and name Lightning Bolt, which shouldn't be in my opponent's hand, I don't think. But I'm going to check. Alright, it is Volcanic Island. Got it. Ball Therapy. Target you. Sacrificing a Poxwalkers. Name Sticker Goblin. Ball Therapy. Target you. Sacrifice a Poxwalkers. Make all those friends. Let's check for Lifetime Pass Holder now. Not there. Fantastic. I guess I could have Cabal Therapied myself that last time. That's good with me. I think putting the thugs in the graveyard, well, maybe a better choice than what I did. Doesn't matter. I just have like 40 power on board. All right. We went ham that last turn. And this is what this deck can do, right? So my opponent had Daze, Force of Will, Daze, Force of Negation, Force of Will, and we won through all of that and 2 threats. This is what this deck can do when things go reasonably. GG's. Graveyard hate for this deck right now is some mix of Surgicals, Grafdigger's Cages, and occasionally Soul Guide Lantern. I think that just means I do 2 of these and call this good. I'm giving up on Anger. This card is not working. And then Rim 1 Breakthrough. Alright, I'm not really convinced that this hand beats my opponent. I have a few different things that I can do. I can start with hard discarding Golgari Thug, which is not exciting, but can get me going. If that doesn't work, I go into Gaze plus Cephalid Coliseum. I think I'm just gonna keep it. I think there's a lot of draws that improve this. Ponder. Alright. Drawing a Thug or an Imp is very good. Drawing an LED to go with this is fine. Drawing a Breakthrough is good. Panic Island is not exciting. But hey, the mountain for the anchor that I ported out. Second land drop. Okay, not Corey Steelcutter, so I'm not facing down a threat immediately, which is nice. There's the threat. Dredge our Thug. There's a Narcomoeba and another Dredger, so that's fine. That I think means that I can start playing land drops. Yeah, let's start casting spell. Alright, Daze is fine. I'll just pass turn here. Hulk comes back. No attack. Dredge the Imp. Cabal Therapy is there. Nothing fun to go with it. There's 8 cards, though. So, this. Cephalid Coliseum. I am doing my thing. Bam. Bam. And bam. Discard. Bridge in there. Bridge. Roll. Roll. Narcomoeba trigger. We're hoping for no surgical extraction on Bridge. That's kind of big thing here, I think. Cabal Therapy. Sacrifice. A Narcomoeba. Bridge trigger. Force of Negation. Sure. Poxwalkers comes back. Cabal Therapy. Target you. Sacrifice. Poxwalkers. Alright, there's the concession point. There's the 2-0. That's proof of concept. That's what we want to be doing. GG. Alright, opening hand doesn't do anything. Second hand maybe goes hard. I think this one's going to be a keep. I think I'm going to get rid of Thug. I don't know, maybe I want the extra Dredger. I can either keep Poxwalkers plus Therapy at the same time, or keep Dredgers. I'm going to keep Poxwalkers Therapy. Unmask, targeting me. Taking my LED, which is my most explosive thing. Spirit Guide. Oh, joy. Well, I mean, my opponent wins this one, right? Very handily. Unless they never draw a mana source in their deck that's full of mana. That would be cool for me. Alright. Otherworldly Gaze. You're to graveyard. You're to graveyard. Don't have enough mana to activate, or enough cards in graveyard to activate this yet. So I guess you're going to graveyard too. Narcomoeba not doing anything for me. Opponent passes turn, doesn't attack. I miss my draw. Take 2 in the combat step. Otherworldly Gaze. Alright. Roll to graveyard. Roll to graveyard. If I draw this land, next turn I can Faithless Looting. I need that. Alright, my opponent wins. Also causes me to lose that bridge from below, humorously. There's their own Narcomoebas. They have Poxwalkers and Bridge. That name's a nonsense card. Nothing too exciting here. One does have some bonus green cards. And they win with Thassa's Oracle. Alright. G, I guess. Both of our decks just did not do things. I guess I try to become more disruptive. I think I need to open on one of these. My opponent a Leyline deck. Oh, none of the first 5 decks that I pulled up had Leyline, so I don't have to worry about this stuff. I think I'm going to largely ignore Dukes. Unmasked takes a card that buys me time to hopefully let my deck do my thing. I don't believe in you. I don't know how to trim this many cards. 8 is so many for the core of this deck. Dread Return? I do Dread Return instead. Keep some Breakthroughs or Thugs. Yeah, maybe I can keep the black count high or Unmask here. My opponent's deck is so much faster than mine. I don't think I can keep a hand that looks like this. Takes no persistent mana source. I could YOLO this. So, Lotus Petal, Faithless Looting, Junk, draw a black source, Cabal Therapy, name a card. Don't love it. Cabal Therapy and Poxwalkers. Dead, maybe? Sure. Does not feel good. Chancellor of the NX. Great. So I can't use my only mana source. Fantastic Magic the Gathering gameplay patterns. Alright, opponent plays a land drop and passes. I do nothing. Witherbloom Apprentice. Okay. There's Lotus Petal. Clear that. There's Lion's Eye Diamond. Sacrifice for triple red. Cast Faithless Looting. Turn Poxwalkers. Dredge Troll. Dredge Stinkweed Imp. Guard those 2 cards again. Turn a Narcomoeba to play. Say yes. Cabal Therapy. Target you. Sacrifice Poxwalker. Turn Poxwalker. Chain of Smog. Negative. Alright, now we know the exact contents of their hand. I will pass the turn. Opponent chooses not to attack. I will dredge the roll. I've got Cabal Therapy. Target you. Sacrifice Poxwalkers. Get a friend with Bridge. Augur Trawler happens to be Graveyard Hate. Let's get rid of that. Boom Apprentice over there now. I will attack in for 1 in the air. Opponent to 19. I will dredge a Stinkweed Imp. There's a new Cabal Therapy. Cabal Therapy, target you. Back Poxwalkers. Turn 2 Poxwalkers in process. Take out the Witherbloom Apprentice that is there. Take out 2 of them. There's how many bridges in graveyard? There's 1 bridge in graveyard. Yep. I'll trade if you want. I have a bunch of power on board. Maybe it was correct to attack the previous turn as well. Maybe that was just missed free damage. Dredge Stinkweed Imp. Another bridge. We're just turning creatures sideways. Opponent takes it, going to 5. Alright. We win. So I know my opponent's juke is now Witherbloom Apprentice, Chain of Smog. I think I still have to respect having Leyline of the Void as an option. Cabal Therapy and Unmask can go after Chain of Smog combo pieces. I don't know that I want to try to bounce that out of play versus things that towards winning the game. It feels like I win if my opponent's deck craps itself. This is fine. As Leyline of the Void for graveyard stuff, and I can go after a Chain of Smog Witherbloom Apprentice piece with Cabal Therapy. And I think legitimately I am planning on being the beatdown here. Alright, a couple of Lotus Petals to play. That's not bad. Underground Sea, Cabal Therapy, target you, Chain of Smog, negative. The opponent just has the wrong side of their deck here. Good for me. I think I'm going to play out pass. Next turn, I can play Narcomoeba, Cabal Therapy, take out Summoner's Pact, so that can't find Witherbloom Apprentice, or Thug for the same purpose, I suppose. Fetch. Thug is probably better at that job. Play Thug, Cabal Therapy, target you, sacrifice Thug, take out the Summoner's Pact. Okay. I think I'm good here. Might be doing Otherworldly Gaze in upkeep. Sure. Mask getting rid of 1 Informer. Narcomoeba will go to graveyard here. It's, I think, the only thing that makes sense. Nope. Alright. Guess you can take that. Everybody goes to graveyard. Narcomoeba to play. Dredge a Thug. Cabal Therapy is a thing. I'll wait a turn. Dark Ritual. There's Witherbloom Apprentice. And Undercity Informer just played out as a creature. Alright. Resolves. Dredge Troll. Alright, there's a Faithless Looting in graveyard now. Feels like now it's time to go bananas. And I'm not going to use my mana in case I hit another Underworld Gaze. Faithless Looting from Yard. Trigger Poxwalkers. Yaw. And Yaw. Discard, discard. There's Narcomoeba. Comes to play. There's Poxwalkers in graveyard. Ball Therapy. Target you. Back Poxwalkers. I'm just gonna, like, take advantage of my bridge from below and make the tokens immediately while I still have my bridges. So that line again. Send in for 1 in the air. 19. Go play from my opponent. There's Golgari Grave Troll. I don't have anything castable right now. I think this is fine. Alright. Opponent takes a bunch of damage. They didn't actually have one of their creatures die. They didn't block with Witherbloom Apprentice. I don't lose bridges. My opponent has conceded the game. That was a rough league. We put up 2 wins, got some play points back. GG's. Alright. Overall thoughts on the deck list. I feel like about once a year, I'm looking for something to play. I don't find anything to play. I play a league with Dredge, and then go, yep, that's my league with Dredge for the year. This is a deck that I don't think is objectively all that powerful compared to other things going on in the format. And I also think it is a deck with a very, very high skill ceiling. And I think that's a bad combination for most people. If you are going to keep grinding with Dredge week after week after week, you could probably have decent results with it. But I think for the average person picking up a different graveyard oriented combo deck, like Oops or Reanimator, would yield results more easily. I don't know that this is one of the better Dredge builds that I have played. I ran into fetches not being functional mana sources because I had milled over my targets. I ran into the anger not being online because I had Cephalid Coliseums and Islands in play. I'm going to trust the deck builder here. They know what they're doing, but this build was not for me. And more generally, I'm just not the biggest fan of Dredge, but it was fun to play for an afternoon. And there were some relatively interesting lines, and there were some really, really cool things. Like round 4 was a great example of like what this deck can do when it is popping off. Other advice: draw lines, diamond, faithless looting, go bananas on turn 1 more frequently than I did in this video. Alright, with that, this is the first video that I am recording in the new year. So you'll probably get this about 2 weeks into January, but happy new year. And here's to another great year of crazy stuff on ThrabenU. Have a great rest of the day, folks. See ya.